And with that, we're going to round into some dynasty players that you should be targeting that are a little bit under the radar here. Debo, you're our guest here, so just fire away, man. Tell us who dynasty managers should be looking to get in on the cheap right now.
Well, unfortunately, Coach Speak is making if anybody's not following Coach Speak out on X.com, you need to be. Coach Speak Index is making this a thing, so maybe it's not as sneaky as it was a few days or weeks ago. But man, I've been trying to get Jackson Smith and Jigba everywhere I can. I've drafted him in startups recently. I've tried to trade for him, especially early in the offseason. Everybody's so down on him. You do have pockets of truthers like myself that are like, when people go knocking at the door, they're like, nah, 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 nah. I'm not giving him up to you. But he is much more attainable than, again, if we want to rewind to last year around this time, Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think there's so much context that needs to be given as far as how his rookie season played out. And I mean, legitimately, the guy had the worst run out he could have possibly had. Walked into the season with a broken wrist, didn't even play over 60% of the snaps until freaking week 6. So that kind of gets buried when people talk about just how his rookie season played out. And then you also add on top of that that Shane Waldron took a guy that everybody religiously said he is one of the best route runners that we've seen in the last few years. That's one of the crooks of his game. We had some worries maybe about his athletic testing and stuff like that. He took a guy that we were like, oh no, like he can run routes, he could separate, he's really good. And Shane Waldron said, I want to turn you into a screen merchant, sir. You're going to catch nothing but screens when you're out there on the field. Congratulations on your minus 2.9 ADOT on all these screens. He had the 7th highest screen rate of any of all wide receivers last year, 7th most screen targets, and also keeping that in mind on a limited snap rate to begin the season. Shit, if he'd have played the whole freaking year, he might have led the damn league in screen targets. Why was that the case? And if you look at Jackson Smith and Jigba's deeper numbers, it all says that this dude really is exactly who we thought he was. You know, to quote Dennis Green going back a few years. But if you look at Jackson Smith and Jigba among 61 qualifying wide receivers that had at least 40 perimeter targets last year, this guy ranked 14th in first downs per route run. If you want to talk about also what his metrics were on the outside, playing the perimeter, 15th in yards per route run, 4th in target per route run rate. So when Shane Waldron wasn't like, hey, catch all these freaking screens, and Jackson Smith and Jigba was running a legit route tree on the perimeter, he was good. So I'm just buying into a second-year wide receiver, has the capital, has the talent, and the idiot OC that did all this stuff is now out. And now maybe, because everybody wants to talk about Seattle and being a run-first offense, did anybody see what Ryan Grubb did in Washington last year? Y'all think that's really going to happen? I'm sorry. I'm betting against that. And so now if we get a pass-happy offense in Seattle, which they've got the parts and pieces to do it. They've got good wide receivers. They got Noah Fant. They could throw the damn ball. Geno Smith actually was good last year when he was not under pressure. Yeah, I'm buying into Jackson Smith and Jigba, man. Trading for him, drafting him in startups. I'm in.
What would you say to anyone who comes back with, and you'll probably get this more from a redraft focused manager, but the fact that he's competing with the likes of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, two established players on that depth chart, where do you think that, what does that leave for him for 2024?
Every really good passing offense in the NFL, most of them have two established receiving weapons. You don't have these offenses where it's like, he's the only guy. That's it. He's going to get 100, 200 targets, like 150 targets. So like every really good offense in the NFL, there are multiple receivers. Like, is that like, just to elaborate on that, is anybody saying, well, I don't want to draft Devontae Smith because he's got AJ Brown to deal with? I don't want to draft another talented wide receiver because he's got another guy who's going to be competing with targets. No, a lot of these guys are competing for volume on a weekly basis. And for Tyler Lockett, he's old as freaking dirt. His yards per route run has dropped in each of the last 3 seasons. So, I mean, here's the thing. If you believe in talent, then you should believe in JSN because targets are a reflection of talent. Targets are earned. That's why you should never worry about, all this vacated targets and vacated air yards. That shit doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. It's one of the worst processes to follow as far as looking at players and saying, well, all this vacated blah 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 is out there. Dude, if a guy's not good, he's not going to earn targets straight up, and he's not going to earn targets at a high clip. So if you believe the guy is talented, he's going to earn volume.
Ethan, are you buying into the talent for JSN over the established aging guys like Tyler Lockett or maybe even a younger guy in DK Metcalf?
I am. I like JSN coming out. I was always high on him. I think he is a great candidate to buy low if you can. Unfortunately, all the dynasty leagues I play in, they're all truthers apparently. He doesn't come cheap. But I mean, to D-Rose point, this offense, we don't know what it's going to be, but I don't believe it's going to be a run first offense. Obviously with the new OC from Washington there. And I just think if this offense can take a step forward, I know Debro has been mentioned on a couple of his shows with Geno Smith. I know you think Geno Smith's going to have a good year this year if they can keep him upright. His pressure rate last year was through the roof. So if he can stay upright and Ryan Grubb can instill that Washington kind of passing attack, why can't JSN move up the rankings a ton? I mean, I like the player. And if you can get him low, now's the time to get him.
To give more context to the point you just brought up, Geno Smith faced the 5th highest pressure rate and the 5th highest pressure rate over expectation last year. And when he actually had clean pockets, this is where Geno ranked amongst 33 qualifying quarterbacks. Clean pocket, 5th in yards per attempt, had the highest big-time throw rate out of all 33 quarterbacks, and was 5th best in PFF passing grade. He still played really damn good. He just never got clean pockets ever.
Yeah, if you're in that truther club for JSN, you're definitely clinging to some of those things. And he's a young guy. He's going to get better on his own right too. So just a combination of Seattle putting a better offense on the field and keeping Geno upright should lead to better things in the future for JSN starting this year.